Chillicothe they cut a contract with. They mill the wood. Instead of taking it to the landfill, they said, oh, that's stupid. We have a resource here. Let's mill it, ship it back to Cincinnati, where it went to Wyoming, city Wyoming, where a minority women-owned company that has 8 employees, which has currently the contract to produce the furniture and paneling and flooring for Cincinnati public schools for the new buildings. They already have that contract. Well, she now gets free wood that is in turn going to be made into CPS furniture, paneling, and flooring that CPS can buy, they already worked this out, at the same price as it would cost for CPS to go buy pressed, furniture, pressed board furniture from China. So we're reusing trees in Mount Airy Forest that get milled and keep people going into work. They have 4 full-time people. They think they keep working in Chillicothe, milling this stuff, shipped back, made into furniture that becomes a learning tool for kids in the new CPS LEED certified schools. And by the way, CPS will have 12 LEED certified silver level schools, more than any other school district in America. By the time the program is completed, who would think, right here in Cincinnati. So that's all the district. Okay, today at 11 o'clock, the governor announced what transportation projects the state will fund. We had $774 million allocated to Ohio to distribute around the state through ODOT for bridge work, street rehab, and paving, etc. There was a very intense process to work with every municipality and county, etc., to consider to have them say what are the top priorities they have for fixing roads and bridges in Ohio. People submitted their applications. They went through a very careful review process by ODOT, and they had to make sure those projects fit into the Federal Highway Administration's very tight restrictions on what was considered eligible. We couldn't pave a road that was not considered a connector or above. Am I speaking properly, guys? You know this stuff? The roads are classified. If it's a local road, you can't qualify for federal money. If it's a connector or an intersection or a major highway, whatever it is, it works. We announced those projects today. There were 146 projects, a total of $774 million, half of which, about $337 million, are ones where you have to sign the contract and obligate the money and actually begin the work by the 29th of June. That's what you call shovel-ready. It's not like we authorize the money, and 3 years from now somebody starts working. Half of the money by law has to be obligated, so it has to actually be nailed down. You can tell me what obligation means by the 29th of June. Okay, you ready? Here's what we announced today for Hamilton County, for the city of Cincinnati. All right. We announced that the city would get $8 million to pay for the street grid work at the Banks project. They submitted an application for that. We authorized funding of $5 million for the county to pay for the removal of the Ted Berry or Freedom Way in front of the Freedom Center, which is critical before you can move on the next stop at the Banks. I'm talking the Banks project here, right? And then we authorized $10.5 million for construction of what they call Phase 2A, which is the next block, just west of the Freedom Center for the Banks project. Okay, it's $23.5 million for the banks. Some people might say, what the hell are you doing spending all that money on the banks? Well, there was a decision made by the county and by the city that the banks was the top economic development priority. And here we had it needed road work that qualified under the Federal Highway Administration guidelines, because that was determined to be a game changer for the economy here in Cincinnati. And I'm looking at some people whose work every day is helping people who are homeless, displaced, right? And you may say, what the heck are they doing with that? Well, fortunately, there is $65 million, as I understand, allocated to Ohio for helping people who are homeless and supporting, hopefully, important good projects, correct? We'll see. So anyway, that was announced. Secondly, we are going to fund $20 million to take the next major move on the Eastern Corridor project. All the planning, all the BIS, all the engineering work, which will connect the eastern part of Cincinnati, downtown ultimately, out to Claremont County. That includes rail, includes the bike trail planning, includes other roadway improvements. Top priority for the eastern part of the city, at the city and the county and Claremont County. Thirdly, $6.1 million for highway work on 75, that most of which is in the city limits that was not already budgeted by ODOT. So it's about $49.5 million that was announced today for Claremont County. Half of that approximately will actually begin right away. And the total number of jobs, by the way, statewide is about 21,000, according to the Federal Highway Administration. These initiatives announced today will fund. It also, this is separate from, in addition to about $37 million in Butler, Warren, Hamilton, and Claremont that the OKI operation allocated already for a number of smaller street improvement projects throughout the four-county area. And 20 million or so went to SORTA for acquiring new hybrid buses. Okay, so that's good. We like that. And I can tell you about other projects in Butler and Warren and other places. But that's what we announced today. There already was a deadline for water projects, for water pollution and sewer projects, $223 million, I believe it is, statewide that OEPA is going to decide on. Those announcements will be made shortly. And there are a variety of others. But here's what my bottom line for you all to do is to check, and I'll turn it over to Scott, to check the website, recovery.ohio.gov, because you can sign up to get updates by email anytime something new is added. And that website has incredible resources, information, releases, including the release today about which of those projects were so far funded. There are, to say, a variety, 120 different categories of funding, that is, different topics that are activities that were allocated federal money to be spent either out of Washington, through states, or locally, including the homeless money for renewable and advanced energy. Weatherization is a big issue. We will have over $200 million to spend in Ohio, correct, to weatherize homes, right? There'll be additional money spent to weatherize public buildings. Some of that may include schools. We're still trying to figure that out. There'll be $97 million spent in Ohio for renewable and advanced energy initiatives, pilot projects, that also obviously save electricity and energy in general, and push the demand, create the demand for renewable and advanced energy equipment, services, companies that do this work in the state, because our goal is to have Ohio be the manufacturing center for renewable and advanced energy systems in the country. We already make more auto parts and truck parts than any other state. Same skills required to make wind turbines, solar units, geothermal. That's a major initiative, and you'll see more about that shortly. So I'd like to, as a prop, my last one is to show you about, we can say 22,000 projects is a lot. I happen to be dealing today with Montgomery County. This is the printout for the Montgomery County projects. And I'd be happy to pass this around. It's all public. You can see who applied for what on the website. It'll give you a feel for some of the creativity that people are putting forth to try to stimulate the economy and create jobs and get things moving here in Ohio. So I will stop and pass this on to Scott, and we'll entertain some questions.